So I'm standing in the living room of this rather large, expensive home in Rancho Santa Fe, and I've overheard the conversations of these four high-end electronics installers, and I hear them discussing where they're going to route their cables. So I pipe in and I say, listen, I can tell you where to run your cables. And they proceed to look at me, see that I got a paintbrush in my hand, I'm covered in paint, and they just dismiss me. So I sit there and think, they need to hear me. So I say, listen, I may be painting, but I'm not a painter. You need to listen to me. For years, this was a running joke between my customer and myself. And here's the story. I was working for him for probably about 2 weeks. I was referred to him by a little lady named Ika. She is an interior decorator for some high-end clientele, and she would always bring me in, or often bring me in, when she saw the need. She's got her list to get his house up to her standards, and I'm working on that list. And one of the things to do was to take the master bedroom and transform it from what it was. And it was a 1990s style, which is faux painting, heavy textured walls, deep, rich tans and yellows, and just interesting and beautiful for the period, but not what she wanted. So I had to cover over those faux painted walls with mud and smooth them out for future wallpaper and paint. So it's a heavy job. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of mudding and sanding and a lot of mess. And then there's the primering and painting. So while I was doing this job, and I'm in the painting phase, these four guys show up in separate vehicles, and they're there to hang 8 high-end televisions. And let me tell you, these televisions were the best I'd ever seen. They had the deepest blacks, the best contrast ratios, I used to say, that I'd ever seen. And so they're deciding on how to run the cables to connect all those satellite receivers, because it's DirecTV. They're trying to connect these cables and these TVs from all over this big house into their dishes. So I said, look, I can help. I know I know where the dishes are. I know where the switch boxes are. And they just looked at each other, and they looked back at me, and they just proceeded to continue as if I wasn't there. And I said, wait a minute. I may be painting, but listen, I'm not a painter. You need to listen to me. I'll save you a lot of time. Well, the customer heard that, and he brought it up many times over the years, and it became a private joke for us, inside joke. Anyway, these guys weren't really being rude. They were just summing me up and seeing me as just a mere painter. And once I asserted myself, the room got quiet. They all listened. They looked. They listened. They followed me. I showed them where the access panels were, where the access to the attics were, where the switch boxes were, and I saved them a lot of time. They went on to do the work, and they were very thankful in the end, because who knows how much time I saved them, how much money I saved them in materials too, not having to run excess cables, buy excess switches. So the takeaway is, you don't judge a tradesperson by what he's currently doing at the time. He may be multi-skilled. You deal with the specialists when you need to. They're really good at what they were doing, but they're focused on just that one job. So they were really good at hanging the TVs with the TV mounts and routing cables and connecting switches to, hey, let me tell you, they had an iPad when iPads were brand new, and they had it mounted to a display, to a stand, and that controlled all the televisions, all the sound systems they put in, all the speaker systems, and they could do themes, and it was amazing. Yes, they're specialists and they're good at what they do, but they don't know all the ins and outs, and they don't know the building the way I did. They don't have the experience that I have in having worked in commercial construction, residential from the ground up, and having some experience with this house, intimate experience. I was able to provide them with some key insights. Now, sometimes you need more of a well-rounded tradesperson, someone that's multi-talented to get the job done. Sometimes you just get by with just a specialist. Now, here's the takeaway. Don't judge a contractor, a tradesperson, by the clothes they're wearing or what they're doing at the time. They may be more knowledgeable than you are in what you're doing. They may be helpful. Point number 2 I want to make is these specialists, they know their trade. They don't know the whole picture. Takeaway number 3, Sometimes you have to look them in the eyes, raise your voice a little bit, and insist that they listen. It worked in this case. Now, I don't do it very often. It's just rare that it's ever happened. But if you know something, go ahead and speak up and share it. You never know when that might be a valuable bit of information. Takeaway number 4, there's no such thing as lowly work. I've done all the different trades, and sometimes it's not glamorous. But you don't judge me by what I'm doing that day, because you don't know what I did for the other 30 plus years of construction. It's good to have a well-rounded experience when you're taking on multifaceted jobs. So if you're in the Glen Rose or Granbury area or Pecan Plantation, and you need someone that is more than just a specialist, you can please check out MrFixer.com. That's MrPhixer, MrFixer.com. I'm not just a plumber. I'm not just an electrician. I'm not just a painter. As someone that spent 30 plus years learning all the different trades, I've got a lot of experience under my belt, and I'm willing to use that to get the job done quickly and efficiently. So hit that subscribe button if you like this story, because I've got a lot more where this came from my years and years of experience. I keep saying years and years of experience like I'm really old or something. I'm Mr. Fixer. Remember, don't you judge a book by its cover. Don't you judge a contractor by the paint on his clothes. And I'll see you on the next one.